Hi, happy Wednesday. I just tried to film this video and talk about this book without just babbling incoherently, and I don't think I succeeded. Like, I don't think I've ever read a YA novel that reflected my experience as a teenager. That's the end of the sentence, I don't know why. So I'm recording it again. So I'm just gonna set aside some time in the beginning to be objective about it so that I can just gush about it. But basically, this is Sarah Taylor's first novel. I'm gonna refer to Sarah Taylor as Chibi because that's her stage name in her band, and I'm pretty sure she's requested that she'd rather us all call her Chibi still, even though her real name is out there now. So this is her first book, and it definitely reads like a first novel, but I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, it's not badly written or anything. I read it and I enjoyed it, so that says something. I don't think it's something that everyone would enjoy though. I think there's definitely a level of having to have an emotional connection to the story and the ideas that are being communicated through the story for you to really love it, or to look past the fact that the writing isn't anything like spectacular. Again, not saying that it's bad, because I don't think this is badly written at all. But it's also like, okay, this is a side note, but like, it's really hard for me to tell if a book is super well written, because it's always easier to tell if a book is badly written and to point out why something doesn't work than it is to point out like, this is really good and it works and here's why it works. I feel like you have to really know a lot about writing in order to do that. Oh, I should probably like explain what the story's about. So it's about this girl named Rachel, and it starts when she's like 14 or 15. And basically Rachel's just like an outsider. She doesn't really fit in. She doesn't have any friends. And she's got a lot of anger inside of her. And one day she discovers like the world of metal, and she just loves the music, and it just satisfies something in her because it's like angry and it's fast and it's just scary a little bit. And so like she relates to it, and she winds up starting a metal band with another girl, and they run into some really sexist shit in the metal world, and so they go out to seek their revenge on men. And it's just like the high school girl in a band power fantasy I've always wanted but didn't know I wanted, because I was in a punk band in high school, and punk is another genre that is like dominated by men. But I feel like metal might actually be worse, because metalheads get weirdly elitist for no reason. Like, the metal I like, I'm pretty sure most metalheads that take themselves super seriously would be like, that's not metal. I come from a more goth background. I want to try to make a like seamless transition from being objective to being more subjective and emotional about it. So we'll start with Rachel's character. At first, I thought she was so fucking insufferable because she's just calling people ignorant all the time. But like, then I remembered how I was when I was 14 and 15, and I was just like, you know what, this is actually just accurate. There was also this like obvious foreshadowing with this painting that Rachel was obsessed with. You know, that one where the two women are cutting off the guy's head. I was just like, okay, we get it. Like, she's gonna kill someone. This is like the link that makes her obsessed with murder. But then like, as the story went on, it became this symbolism that was almost kind of sad, because it was like her longing for a bond with someone that was so strong. And like, I love that painting too. I don't know, like, as the story went on, it just didn't bother me anymore, and it didn't seem like, I don't know what the word is, obvious. I don't know. I thought it was cool. But now I'm just gonna gush. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, I'm just gonna gush now. Like, all the stuff that I'm about to talk about is how it just related so hard to my own life. It made me feel seen. Like, I've never read a YA book about a teenager that was like this. So like, if anything I'm about to say is something you relate to, then like, read this book. Read it. There's like these moments that she has of self-doubt, like surrounding liking metal. Like, the first time she discovers a metal band is when she hears it playing just in someone's car, and she notices their bumper sticker is a band logo, and so she just goes to the record store and asks the guy for the band. And she has this moment where she's like, what if it's not actually a band? Like, what if it's stupid? Like, what if I sound like an idiot? And like, that's how I feel when I go to record stores. Like, to this day sometimes I feel like, even if I know it's a band and I know it's a band that I like, I still feel like, oh, but like, they're gonna think it's a dumb band. Why do I care? It's because I'm conditioned to care. Or like even when I went to buy my ukulele a few years ago, I was wearing this shirt exactly. And the guy at the music store asked me if this was my dad's shirt. Which, first of all, how tiny do you think my dad is? But anyway. And then there's this other part where she sees a dude at school wearing the band shirt that she likes, and she tries to compliment him on it, and he just totally shuts her down, like, how do you know this band? Like, how do you know about the scene? Like, he just shuts her down completely, and then she feels stupid for having said anything, and like, same. And then there's just stuff about her parents, like, ridiculing the music that she likes, which... And then there's just stuff about being a high school girl in a rock band that it's such a specific experience, but it's so universal. Like, if you've had that experience, like driving hours to go to your first show where you play a bar at 1 a.m. for 20 people max, and like, you know half of them. Or when she's recording for the first time, because she does vocals. I played bass, but there was a song that I sang on, and it was exactly the same, like, self-consciousness where you're like, everyone in the room is only gonna hear my voice because the music is in the headphones. And so like, you have to ask everyone to like accommodate for your self-consciousness, and you feel really bad about it, but they do it anyway because they're nice people. Or then just like the moment of her going to her first concert when she was 15 to see a band that she really loved, and seeing all of these people that like the same music as her for the first time, like all in one place. Like, that's a magical moment. My first concert was when I was 16, and it was, guess who?
Thank you. We're the Birthday Massacre from Toronto, Canada.
So reading this book was very meta in a lot of ways. Like, there's this female bassist that the main character and her friend are super obsessed with because she's like one of the only girls in metal, and she's really fucking good at what she does, and she's super confident, and she doesn't take anyone's shit, and they just like want to be her. And I totally had those idols as a teenager, and there are people that I still super look up to. Like, I started playing bass, like I wanted to play bass and guitar because of Lindsay and Kitty. Like, I had never seen girls playing instruments in a band like that before, and it just like, it fueled me. I found they play for MSI, which is like, we don't have to talk about MSI, but like, I found them when I was maybe 10, which is about when I found the Birthday Massacre as well. And like, I don't know what kind of person I would be if I didn't have those women that I was looking up to. As weird as that sounds, like, it's just true. But then there's also just stuff in this book that like makes me genuinely wish this book had come out when I was still in high school. Like, there's this part where Rachel and her friend are shopping, and her friend picks out these boots for her, but they're like really feminine, so she's not sure about them. And then her friend says, just because they aren't masculine doesn't mean they aren't tough. And like, that's just, it's such a good sentiment. Like, that's something that I feel like people conflate a lot, especially when you're a girl in a music scene like this. You feel like masculine is better, like dressing masculine makes you better than other girls. And then there's this other part where a guy asks her out, and there's like the moment where she feels like she needs to have an excuse to say no, but then like, she explicitly has the thought of like, no, I just don't want to. And so she tells the guy like, no. And that's like a big deal. Like, that's a lesson that I feel like I had to learn for a while. I don't need an excuse, I can just say no. But like, I also do have an excuse, and the excuse is that I'm gay. But even if you're a straight girl, like, you don't need an excuse. But yeah, this is just a really rad book. I really like themes of like sisterhood and just girls protecting girls. I like it. Good book, Chibi.
Okay, so like, just another thing that I wanted to add that I didn't mention in the video for some reason, because I just didn't think of it. The very first concert, when I mentioned that like the first concert I ever went to when I was 16 was the Birthday Massacre, as soon as we left the venue, a guy came up to us and asked us how old we were, me and my friends. It was so sleazy and weird. And then there's also something to be said, I think, about how, you know, music and stuff that's directed at girls is always made fun of, and people call it stupid. But then when girls do like stuff that men deem good, they're usually punished for it, or like, it's made so difficult for them to be accepted into whatever community it is. So it's like, what are women supposed to like?
So yeah, that's all my thoughts on Boring Girls. If any of that sounds like you or who you were in high school, like, I recommend this book to to other girls like this. So yeah, that's it from me about boring girls. Thanks for listening to me gush. I hope it was fun or entertaining to some degree, and I hope you have a good day, and I will see you next week maybe.